as long as the AIPAC money keeps coming in, our money is gonna keep going out. It's non-negotiable. She will never, ever turn on the donors.
In a brand new 60 Minutes interview, Kamala Harris dodged 3 questions about whether Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is truly a close ally of the United States. Now pay attention to the framing of the question. It's not about Israel being an ally to the United States. It's specifically about the Prime Minister of Israel and whether or not he's an ally of the United States. And it turns out that Harris was very uncomfortable and refused to really answer the question every single time. So in the 60 Minutes interview, CBS's Bill Whitaker did a pretty excellent job of succinctly explaining the Biden administration's complete foreign policy failure and lack of influence over Bibi specifically, telling Harris, quote, "The Biden-Harris administration has pressed Netanyahu to agree to a ceasefire. He's resisted. You urged him not to go into Lebanon. He went in anyway. He was promised to make Iran pay for he has promised to make Iran pay for the missile attacks, and that has the potential of expanding the war." Whitaker then went on to ask, does the US have no sway over Prime Minister Netanyahu? And here's how Harris responded to that question. Quote, "The aid that we have given Israel allowed Israel to defend itself against 200 ballistic missiles that were just meant to attack the Israelis and the people of Israel. And when we think about the threat that Hamas, Hezbollah presents, Iran, I think that it is without any question our imperative to do what we do to allow Israel to defend itself against those kinds of attacks." Now, before I continue with the rest of the exchange, I need to make this point. We all know that there is a difference between defensive capabilities and offensive capabilities. Compare the treatment of Israel to that of Ukraine. Ukraine has had to beg the US government to provide more than just defensive military capabilities, right? They want offensive weapons. They want to go into Russia, they want to strike Russia. Now, the Biden administration has loosened some of their restrictions on that when it comes to Ukraine. But when it comes to Israel, we're not talking about defensive capability. We're talking about 2,000-pound bombs that have been supplied to a belligerent government that continues to rain terror on the people living in Gaza, now in Beirut. Obviously, they've bombed Syria, they've bombed Iran. I mean, this is insanity. So her answer, I'm sorry, doesn't pass the smell test.
Yeah, so we're gonna get back into why her answer is disastrous in a second, but on the point that Anna's making, guys, today is October 7th, so it's the anniversary. That means we've gone 365 days, 66 now. So October 7th is the day of mourning for Israeli civilians, and it should be. The other 364 days have been Israel obliterating the Palestinians. So are we gonna do a day of mourning every single day? Because we should. Because on the one side, 810 civilians died, and that's terrible, terrible. That's a big number, 810. On the other side, well over 30,000 civilians have died. And so that is just an absolutely brutal number. So my point here is, you say, hey, in the beginning, the first couple of weeks is defense. First couple of months, they're defending themselves. They're trying to extract Hamas and kill their leaders, etc. In the 12th month, for the Palestinians who appear to, everyone, we can all see it, we have eyes, appear to be defenseless. They're just obliterating them for 12 months straight.
Yep.
Still claiming that in the 12th month, that it's self-defense is preposterous.
Actually, let me give you all an update on what's currently transpiring in Gaza. I mean, you would think that the military operations and bombings would at least slow down, considering the fact that they're now doing a ground invasion in Lebanon, they're bombing the crap out of Beirut. No, they haven't slowed down. So Netanyahu argues that they are currently doing aerial bombardments in northern Gaza because Hamas has been able to, gather up again and start making plans again. And I mean, look, how many military officials within the Israeli government have made it abundantly clear that Netanyahu's course of action to wipe out Hamas is not gonna work? Because when you kill entire family members, when you brutalize people, They're going to be out for revenge. It's helping Hamas recruit. But Netanyahu knows that.
And most importantly, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump know that, and they're both lying on behalf of Netanyahu. So we'll get to Trump in a second too. But to Anna's point about the government officials and how they basically had been planning this all along, Smotrich, who's in the cabinet, said this in 2018. So what, 5 years before the October 7th attack, 5 years before. He said, quote, "As far as I'm concerned, Gaza should be hermetically sealed. We shouldn't provide them anything. Let them die of hunger, thirst, and malaria. I don't care."
2018, he said that.
So hey, look at that. The Israelis knew about October 7th. Now we know that Israeli newspapers reported it. The Israeli government did nothing about October 7th. And now all of a sudden they have so much technical capabilities. They're blowing up pagers. They're killing every physicist that might or might not work on the Iranian program. So apparently they're super sophisticated, but golly gee, the one giant attack that we were told about, we didn't do anything about. And then we wound up hermetically sealing Gaza, just as our cabinet wanted 5 years ago, and starving the Palestinians to death. Wow, what a coincidence. So tell us more Pretty Little Lies, Kamala Harris.
One other thing I just want to quickly say, Kamala Harris cites the nearly 200 ballistic missiles. It was 180 that Iran fired toward Israel. They didn't do that out of nowhere. They did that immediately after Israel had announced that they were doing a ground invasion in Lebanon, and they had already been bombing the capital of Lebanon, Beirut. So just erasing that reality and making it seem like Iran attacked out of nowhere is ridiculous, but it's typical course of action for American officials. With that said, Whitaker did not drop his line of questioning. In fact, he stated, "But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening." Harris responds with a complete nothing burger, saying, "Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what happens or what needs to happen in the region." I don't know what that means. What is that statement?
I know what that means. That means, well, we couldn't get them to do any big things that we wanted, like, hey, stop bombing the living crap out of these people. Don't go into Lebanon. Don't do ground troops in Gaza. Don't go into Rafah. Over and over again, we asked for something publicly, and then Netanyahu comes out and goes, "No, we're not gonna do anything, and hurry up and send a goddamn money quicker than we're getting it right now." Literally, he yelled at us for not sending it as fast as he wants it. So what Kamala Harris is referring to is, behind the scenes, they plead and they get on their hands and knees and they beg. They're like, "Netanyahu, please, please, listen to a tiny little thing. All the Palestinians are about to starve to death. Can you just allow like 10, 20% of food in so they don't at least starve, because it'll look bad for us. We don't mind you killing them. We just gave you 26 billion to kill more, right? Just do it in a more subtle PR friendly way." And then Netanyahu was like, "All right, I will allow a tiny amount of food in. Congratulations, America, you have something." And they rush back, they're like, "Oh, we can't tell you, but behind the scenes, we were so heroic." Losers, pathetic.
So Whitaker pressed Harris one more time, asking, "Do we have a real close ally in Netanyahu?" Here is Harris's hilariously awful response, quote, "I think, with all due respect, the better question is, do we have an important alliance between the American people and the Israeli people? And the answer to that question, according to her, is yes." I disagree completely with that, okay? I disagree in that, US taxpayers are obviously struggling with the institutional failures within our own country. I don't think we have any business funding the brutal acts of a foreign country. It's one thing to support an ally of ours when they are justified in their military activity, but this past year has shown us that they're going far beyond what is justified, not only in terms of what I believe, but in terms of what the international community believes and in terms of what international law indicates.
Okay, first, credit to Bill Whitaker. Nice job on the questions, exactly the right questions. He's part of mainstream media, but he still asked good, solid questions and did follow-ups. Because the essence of this is, hey, wait a minute, don't we have leverage with the Israelis? Didn't we give them $4 billion every year? We've given them $300 billion overall. And we just gave them an extra $26 billion as a thank you present for the slaughter in Gaza, which is unbelievable. So obviously we have the leverage. You're just choosing not to use it. So why are you choosing not to use it? And that's a question she can't answer. That's why you get, the secretly behind the scenes, our words moved things, but we can't tell you how or prove it, etc. Nonsense. But the answer is clear. No, we will not use our leverage. Because in Washington, the idea of not giving Israel literally every single dollar they have requested is unthinkable. So they're like, that it doesn't even pop into their heads. Even if somebody asks them 3 different times, she's like, doesn't address it. Because as long as the AIPAC money keeps coming in, our money is gonna keep going out. It's non-negotiable. She will never, ever turn on the donors. And by the way, that is telling not just on this issue of Israel, that means on every issue. She's never going to turn on the donors.
100%.
So all of the things that she says about progressive things that are economic in nature that we like, that's why I keep telling you, I love you, and Trump is worse on every issue, and including this issue. And my vote is super clear, but I don't want you to get false hope. She's gonna do nothing that the donors don't approve of in every field and every category. And so, look, last thing is Trump gonna use our leverage, Mr. America First, Mr. I'm the art of the deal, I'm gonna negotiate, etc. No, whenever he's asked about it, and it happened recently, he said no, that Israel should hit the nuclear sites first, which is the most likely to cause a wider war. And he's like, I don't care, because he was told by Miriam Adelson, his donor, you're to do whatever Israel commands of you. And so if that makes you uncomfortable, don't take it up with me. Look up Miriam Adelson's over $90 million to Donald Trump. If you think Donald Trump is a man of principle and he'll defy her anyway, well, listen to his comments. He says Israel should be allowed to do anything they want. He thinks we should give them all of our money. We should never question them, but so does Kamala Harris. So the partisans on both sides are totally full of crap.
Yep. I mean, the corruption can literally take 2 parties that, like, one party takes a position on literally anything else. The opposite party has to take the extreme opposite position. That's how our politics currently works. But there's one issue that both parties are 100% aligned on. How could that possibly be? Could it be the bribery that we have legalized in this country, allowing for a moneyed interest group that represents a foreign country to have this kind of influence over the 2 parties? So that's what we're dealing with here. And look, some people argue, well, Trump's way worse. Trump's worse in his rhetoric. But in terms of real world actions, both parties are exactly the same when it comes to this issue. Yeah. And it's devastating. And
I'll leave on one last note here. Again, credit to Bill Whitaker for asking what I think are obvious questions in this regard, but that almost no one else in mainstream media has asked, which is, don't we have leverage? Why are you not using it? And the answer is super uncomfortable, because they're not allowed to touch that money. Why are the people leading the most powerful nation on earth not allowed to control the money that they are sending a different government?
Yeah.
And that's super awkward. That's what nobody in Washington wants to talk about, but that's a stone cold reality, and you just saw it in Kamala Harris's answers. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.